Well, today's Monday, Tuesday, May 12th. I'm just about to leave this crazy truck stop, Bordentown, New Jersey. Couldn't find any spots, me being so long, you know. And there was a guy parked here facing that way, so I managed just to pull in. And I'm not in the way because I'm against the grass, so that guy was still able to park in there. Actually, there was two more trucks, they came and go. Anyway, I had a little unpleasantness yesterday at the port. A guy side swiped me. Well, he claims I side swiped him, but we'll see about that. So he hit this tire over here, you see? And then he went here and he completely destroyed this rim. As you can see, I have used the steel rim now, but the tire was fine. And then he scratched this, and this was pushed in. All the lights, all these three clearance lights disappeared. You know, I come out like, okay, I see destroyed rim, I see no lights, but then I put my hand inside and they're all in there. Like, this is a brilliant design. Whoever came up with this is a genius. So, you know, because of this rubber, it's much easier for the light to slide in as to get broken. And so you just pull them out, put them back in. But yeah, you see now I have this ugly scratch, ugly rim that I gotta replace, and this broken like assembly. And he even bent my, I don't know how this happened. Probably it bent it with this. So not good, not good. And yeah, something happened here. And again, this light was pushed in, little scratch here. And this light, even this light was pushed in. Like, unbelievable. It was one of those crazy intersections where it's like at the port where there's 20 lanes in each direction, 2 lanes turn left, 2 lanes turn right. But I could say that part of the issue was this. The booster, you know, especially when you turn right, it's very, very dangerous. So I try to, so now the main topic of this video, just quickly, is what I learned about shims running this 2+2, because this is like the first time, right? First off, when I was empty, I noticed that this airbag, XL1, was taller than this airbag, right? And this whole thing just arises like this. It's all because of this. So these shims in the deck, and now that's my 1/4 inch shim, which is supposed to be blue, but now it's all rusted. You cannot see that. Like from the factory, I had the yellow, which was I think 1/8 inch. That was yellow. Blue is medium, 1/4, and then the biggest one is red, 1/2 inch. And so as soon as you put that in, it's the same as putting like this much shim over here, you know, like at the top, right? So it's very, very effective. What it does, it raises the deck, and it raises this, and it pushes this part into the ground. And that's why this airbag is bigger, which means it has less load, right? Because the more the load, the smaller the airbag. And so you see this one is now bigger, but that's fine. Basically what I can do is, that's why I'm riding like this, not in the top 5 position. But when I'm running empty, like let's say I have to put the red shim in here, then definitely this one will be almost in the ground. So what you do is I just put a board in here under the, because I don't have an air lift, it's all chain lift. See? So I put a board in here. I showed it a few times, right? I drive on the board, and then I drain the suspension, hook up the chain, make the chain short, drive off the board, reinflate the suspension, and this tire will be like this much in the air, you know, so which is handy when you're driving empty. But that's what this shim does. So basically this shim reduces the weight on this axle, lifts the deck, makes the deck higher, which is of course good for heavy loads. Like normally I do like 80-90,000, right? Once I go over 100,000, I'm gonna change this to the red shim, 1.5 inch. And then empty, I'll have to run. Oh, you see, and this guy scratched this, but again, it's just a scratch. Yeah, very unpleasant when something like this happens. And so yeah, that's what that shim does, right? So you want that shim with a heavy load, otherwise this will be overloaded without the shim, right? So that shim moves more load to the over here, which normally does not get a load, because the further you are from the load, the less weight it is, right? So that's what this shim does. It tilts this spot like this, right? Now this shim, and I had 3 shims, and that was way too much for running empty. So this shim over here distributes the weight between tandem, this tandem and that tandem. And actually now when I had 3 shims, it was okay for running loaded, but empty I saw much, like the airbags were like 2 times smaller on those 2 axles. There was too much weight. And so now what I did is I raised the suspension all the way to the maximum here, started the engine, made sure I had full airbags of air, and then I dropped the front. And when I dropped the front, this thing pivoted, and this spot opened, like there was a gap in here. Oh, and I drained the air, right? I drained the air over there, and I drained the air over here, and this thing opened, and I was able to take them out, take 1 shim out on each side, and leave just 2, because I know when I drove to Las Vegas, if I have no shims in here, these airbags just go crazy. There's like they're like this big, and this axle will be in the air. So basically, even empty, this design does not allow driving without shims. But the gap here was like this, you know. So it just, compared to what it is when it's empty, it's just slightly more. Okay, so that's what this shim does. Very important. It distributes the weight between tandem 1 and tandem 2. If you don't have any shims in here, you'll have 70,000 pounds here, 20,000 pounds there. If you have the shim, like 3, you have what I had. I had 36. No, I had 37 and 35 with this milling rig, right? So that's what I know now, that you do not need any shims in here, because all this one does is pushes the weight like this one. What it does, it transfers the weight, just like this one. You see this shim, right? What this shim does, it transfers the weight between this axle and this axle, right? It moves the weight from this axle to this axle. And so, continuing the same analogy, that's exactly what this does. It moves the weight from this to this, which is unnecessary, because this whole thing, when you inflate the airbags, it pushes like this, right? So it, by default, it already transfers more weight over there. That's how it's designed. And the thing is, no matter what I try to do, yesterday at the port, spent like an hour, I cannot take them out because there's no pins in there, and it was a hassle to put the pins back in. But anyway, I tried all kinds of boards in here. I was putting boards under this spot, trying to raise this. Of course, to create the gap, you have to raise this spot and drain the air here. Nothing worked. And how I put them in is when I was loading, that shim was over there. That's totally ridiculous. You don't need it there. And of course, you don't need it here. Basically, after the spreader, I don't need any shims with this particular design. I don't know about you, like what kind of design you have, but the way we put that in, we hooked up a chain in here, because this is part of the spreader, right? And there's nothing here. There's no wires, no hoses, as long as you miss that hose. And I put a chain in here, and the guy with the excavator just lifted it like 2 inches, and as soon as he did, with the air off over here, this gap widened, and I was able to put the shim in. So now that's what I have to do. Like I tried, so all I did this morning now is just I was able to take 1 shim out, right, and leave 2, and now I just need to back out of here. And I don't think I need to do this. This is mostly for like 3+1. Like that's what I find, that when you back empty this thing. I arrived at Hale trailer. Love this place. I don't know, it's something wrong with me. I really like these, all these trailers. Like check this out, they have so many what they call Fayetteville, And in the back there's all these yeah, Faymanville. There's all these Talbot, Fontaine, reefers, you know. The sky looks pretty good today. I'm shooting with a Samsung. And I apologize for my video got cut because I forgot that I'm shooting at 1080p at 60, and it only gave me 10-minute limit. And of course I kept talking past that, and then I turned the phone over to turn it off, and I see it was already turned off. But what I was saying is that, yeah, I'm gonna replace that wheel, the steel wheel, but I said I would ask Hale trailer about the price, and I went in, got the service writer John. He came out, and I asked him to I said I'm gonna drop the trailer today, even though the part is coming tomorrow, but I said please fix that broken light on the license plate, and you know, while you're at it, maybe just straighten the license plate. And I said if you could take out that red shim, you just need to hook up a chain and lift that and just remove the red shim. And he says, what do you want it? I said, just if you could put it in my compartment box where my chains are. And then I said and finally last time they added a cross member to the flip box, right? And now I asked him to add like a very small shim on each end. By the way, I don't know if you guys ever seen a real 70-ton Fontaine. So this is the only trailer where you get a longer neck, longer than 101 inch. Like on 55-ton, 60-ton, all you get is 101. And you see, this is the genuine Fontaine flip box. And that's the bar they added on my flip box when I asked him to see if there's anything stronger. But I think actually the metal on my flip box is not worse. It's not. I think it's even thicker. But yeah, I like this. See how I think they made a hole and then they did that, so that's stronger than on mine. On mine they just welded this piece in here. But that's a 70-ton, looks awfully tall, probably 24 inches, and same modular trailer. And see, from the plant they already put in the red shim, which is half an inch. And this is the Tridem Jeep that goes with a 70-ton. Check out how much space is here. See, it's super long. It has so much space in front of the front axle and the fifth wheel, because you know that's the design you need for the Tridem. And that's the famous EQ2 equalizer, hydraulic. And I wanted to see, yeah, you see it has pins everywhere. It has pins at the bottom and it has pins on the top, but it had that shim part in here, you know. And with a 70-ton, you don't get a tandem, you always get a Tridem. See? You get a Tridem, and then you hook up that spreader, and then you hook up 2 flip axles, and you get 3 plus 2 in the back. Or maybe even 3. No, that's a Tridem Jeep. And then you have 2 flip axles. Yeah, so this is a complete 70-ton setup. So 3-axle Jeep and 3 plus 2 in the back, because I don't see another flip axle. But normally, yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, if you go with a 80-ton, then you get Tridem boost. Anyway, I was just fooling around there with my shims. Had to remove all the shims, otherwise I couldn't drop those support arms, you know. So removed all the shims and couldn't put in, at least I put the pins partially, just for now, so that they can back this thing, right? So I dropped the air over here, I dropped the air over there, and you see this shim is really preventing these to go in properly. Like on the other side it's still not fully in. And yeah, okay, so they're gonna get rid of this. We have no air anywhere, so now I can try to back with this thing. But the guy was kind. He says you can just drive in, but he wants me to put it. He wants me to put a timber underneath. I'm not sure how they're gonna hook up with this long neck, but that's. I said, you know, you have my business card. If you have any issues, just call me and I'll come with the truck and move it. Well, the trailer is dropped. It's in the mirror is Hale trailer. I just stopped over here at 7-Eleven across the street and got some coffee. And I like these, like this. Very low carbs. And I booked a hotel for 2 nights. The same hotel where I was last time, in Voorhees. My part is coming tomorrow, that warranty part. And they said they need my trailer until Thursday. So no trailer, just the truck. I was driving and thinking maybe I should lease, or I mean rent for one day, one of those crazy sports cars like a Lambo. But again, I'm still a bit confused about insurance. I think they want your personal insurance from your car to be transferred to this one because these are so expensive. But I don't know. I'm gonna call them tomorrow and see what they say. So the plan now is to go towards the hotel, but it's only 11:58. The check-in is at 2, but because I know that area, you know, I want to go to Panera Bread and get something to go, like a lunch, and then just eat it in my truck, and by that time it'll be 2 o'clock, and then we can go and check in and finish this blockbuster and upload it to YouTube. And the lunch has been served. Today we're having, check this out. On top of the receipt the guy wrote big truck, because now they have something new. You know, before you go in, you order and then you just wait there. You step away from the counter and there's markings on the floor. You just stay away, and you have to wear a mask, of course, when you're inside. So before you could wait there, or lots of people, they order before they come, right? But you know, I didn't want to bother, so, and I came in and that's the first thing they ask you, have you already ordered, or do you have to order? I said I have to order. And they have this deal called half and half. And so I got, hold on, let me just clean my hands quickly. So I got half and half. One is the Greek salad, no cheese, half of that one, and one is my favorite, a roasted turkey avocado BLT, no cheese. When you get this, you get 2 of these. I know this little thing is like 200 calories, so I don't want to eat 2 of them. Or maybe they gave me 1, then it's fine. Oh yeah, there's only 1, and the salad looks good. It has quinoa and all kinds of veggies. And I told them no cheese, so we're having some real good food. And I thought I would stop by the hotel and check in, but I thought, you know what, I'll just keep driving towards the Panera Bread and do my lunch. And what's the time now? Oh, it's 1:45. So I'm pretty sure by the time I finish, the hotel will be ready for business for the checking in. And that's it. What did I'm gonna get paid today I sent in, it was too late yesterday, so I sent in all the paperwork this morning and double checked with Sarah, my factoring lady there. She says, yeah, everything is fine. So I should get the money for this trip after 2 o'clock today. And I booked the hotel for 2 nights because my trailer will be ready as per Hale trailer Thursday. And so what they're doing, I'm getting a used aluminum rim instead of the used steel rim, and they're fixing that broken light near the license plate. They're gonna, maybe they'll straighten out the plate. If not, I can do it myself. And then they'll try to add some shims to the flip box, you know. And I told them, I said, please make sure that I can still put in the bottom pins. And he says, yeah, I know. He says there should be a very small free play. You can, of course, because of the pins, you need a little bit of a free play when the thing goes down, otherwise you won't be able to put in the pins. But he wrote it down. And then that part is coming from Alabama on Wednesday, tomorrow. Not sure what it is, but they're gonna attach that brace bracket. I'll show it in the next video. And they're gonna fix that little crack on the passenger side. And meanwhile, I had some issues with my load board over the weekend, but they were fixed. I couldn't log in for some reason. I had to call the customer service. But now everything is working. I've been getting some emails, people offering me loads, but one guy had a load from Baltimore, Maryland, going to Newfoundland. I gave him a rate, and then he says the customer canceled. It was some kind of a Caterpillar, I think it was an excavator. And I said, I would go, but you have to pay for the deadhead because it's, you know, it's St. John's, it's 500 miles on the island to St. John's, and you have to drive back to the ferry. And they said they are paying for the ferry, they're paying for the permits, otherwise I would not do it because they don't want to pay enough, you know. It's too many miles. So anyway, so yeah, we'll be keeping an eye on the load board. Hopefully I'll book something, like ideally by the time I pick up my trailer, I'll have a load. But I don't have my Jeep, so I cannot do something super heavy. I can only do up to probably 90,000 pounds. So if nothing shows up on my radar, I'll just do the same thing I did last time, just drive back empty to Ontario. So thanks for watching.